Wes is a spring, and I don't want to get too technical because I usually screw those things up, but it's a 6-week in a cast/boot, and we should have him ready to go full speed by June. So that's 3 guys that we're dealing with. But Jeff didn't need as many reps, but we lost Jalen and we lost Von Bell. But the positive is that they're all back fairly early too. You know, sometimes you lose that summer training, which is terrible. Curtis Samuel had a really good day today, like really good day. Don't know which way right or left is yet, but he plays fast, plays hard, doing the things we asked. And defense got the better offense today. We call it second and long period. So you put the ball down, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, 2nd and 10. The objective of the offense obviously is to get back in a manageable 3rd down. And the defense is responsible not to let you get there. So it's just another, we do a lot of teaching situations in spring like most people do. I just thought that's interesting for you guys. Any questions?
Todd, front row.
Irvin, you mentioned, I think at the start of this, you prefer to have a blue-collar team that's hungry. You're about halfway through spring, a little bit more than halfway through. Do you feel like you have that, 1? And 2, do you think you guys have made progress to address the areas that of need that kind of led to last season's, the 2 losses at the end of the season?
We've addressed that. I can't imagine addressing that harder. And some people might say, well, did you address the fact that pass defense we have? But that wasn't number 1. Number 1 is that the culture that I felt that I slipped as far as demanding and teaching the culture that we want. And the culture is not playing scared, timid, and soft. It's, if you're going to make a mistake, you make it. You're 4 to 6 and A to B. So I don't know if I've ever addressed it as hard as I have this offseason. And certainly we have addressed pass defense, but that wasn't, again, it's too easy. Pass defense wasn't very good. No, there's much more complicated than that.
Those 2 things go hand in hand, blue-collar hungry and you know, not playing timid or things like that.
Yeah, it's very hard to get all 3 into one football team. That's where there's very few great teams. There's a bunch of good teams, but great teams have those characteristics. I've been around a couple of those teams.
I mean, since we saw you last, I guess, pretty big news in college football in terms of the Northwestern case. What are your thoughts on that? And do you kind of feel like student athletes are employees? I
don't feel that at all. What I do feel is that I've always been a pro student. You know, students should get more than what they get. It gets so complicated, Bill. And I'm so focused on our team. I've read a little bit of it. I've watched it when it comes on, but to say I've immersed myself in that situation, I haven't. But I've always been, you know, things like students, athletes, parents should come on visits and should have to pay for it. They should get a stipend. You know, there should not be but to say that they can go out and get their own shoe contracts and those kind of things, you know, I start hearing that, I'm like, well, what would that do for this great sport? And really, what would that do for college athletics as a whole? So I don't know a whole lot of that. I imagine after spring I'll hear more.
I know one of the things the NCAA rules say, the 20-hour rule, which everyone I've ever talked to says that's unrealistic. I mean, how unrealistic is that, 20 hours?
I think it's a great rule. What do you mean?
I mean, they're only allowed to be mandated to put 20 hours into it.
Right.
But realistically, that's not enough.
Yeah, the mandated means with us.
Right.
A quarterback can't play college football at a high level of 20 hours per week.
Right.
But he's got to do on his own. I think it's a great rule. I think, you know, that means a lot of, that's why they have iPads, that's why they, you know, kids can decide, players just like coaches can decide to be great. If they're watching the hour clock, you know, if they're punching the clock and saying, I'm done 20 hours, then you probably got a pretty average player there. But I think, you know, coaches are, you know, they created that rule. You give us 40 hours, we're going to keep it 40 hours. And they still got to take care of their academics. So I have no problem with that rule.
Just the mid-foot sprain, a lot of times that's a Liz Frank. Is that what it is with Hireman?
It's not. It's in that area. Liz Frank does this. It's not.
Far
but
left.
It's in that area.
Far left, Matt.
Just wondering at this stage, you know, midway through, are you seeing the light come on for any of the younger players, or what are you seeing, I guess, at this stage? Are you getting to the point where some of these guys are starting to get it a little bit more?
Yeah, it's just, once again, I don't want to start giving out names. I know that's makes good articles and conversation, but we're only 8 into it, and you know, you've heard about Darren Lee. Chris Ridley's doing a nice job. Cam Burrow is doing a nice job. Josh Perry's turned into an Ohio State linebacker about. He's not quite there yet. The offense line I'm concerned about. You needed, I keep looking for Mewhort, Lindsley, and Hall and Norwell. They're not out there anymore. And then you have Braxton and Hireman out, so it's a depleted offense right now.
I guess quarterback-wise, are those guys the guys that are getting there?
Yeah, they were, up to, you got me on a bad day because Cardell was bad today. And when I say bad, real bad. But to the point coming up till today, he was one of our most improved players on our team. So it's spring ball. You're going to have a bad day. You got to get those out of him before next fall. But he's clearly the number 2.
Middle, Ari.
Coach, your players have talked about just the defense specifically, just simplifying and trying to be more aggressive and fast. They won the first defensive scrimmage we were able to watch, or the scrimmage defensively, and then today again. Seeing that, is that kind of the reason why they're able to, you're seeing those results, you think?
Saturday they lost. So
2 weeks ago, when we were.
Yeah, the first one they won, the second one they lost, and then today wasn't win or lose it day. I'm seeing the culture and the coaches following the culture. That all, we're just so early into it, But I see improvement in the areas that we're emphasizing right now. That's getting to the ball and simplifying things.
Front row, Tim.
Yeah, a couple, Urban. One, Taylor Decker, is he being that lead duck you want? For that offensive group. What do you see out of him specifically, or have you seen much out of him?
Yeah, big time. Until today, it was a bad day. Taylor was part of the bad day syndrome. So up to that point, very impressed with what he's done, leadership, toughness, doing all the things that that previous group did. But today was not a good day. So.
Was it because of the wind? You guys were outside and then you came in, right? Did the wind kind of screw? Did the change? How would you describe what happened there?
I don't want to say soft because he's not soft, but players that allow the peripheral stuff to get into your, focus tends to issue. And that I think, Coach Marty talked to our team about that. He saw some, that wouldn't affect Jack New York, but he probably did as a sophomore. And Taylor's still a sophomore right now. Mm-hmm. So it was a bad day, and there's more. The guys across the line of scrimmage are pretty good. Blocking Joey Bosa all day is not easy. And Joey got the best of him today.
And the other thing I want to add, because we may not see you until late next week or whatever, you decided with your coaches convention or clinic this year, you've honored some guys and stuff like that. What's just sort of behind that? You're bringing in the 2 pro coaches.
Yeah, it was just one of those I was either on a walk or somewhere, and I just started thinking about the great state of Ohio, and I think people sometimes forget that, this is the birthplace of football, Canton and Massillon, where you start talking about the birthplace of football and 2 pro sports. We have 2 great coaches. Mark Lewis is a great friend. I actually know Mike Penton from when he was a high school coach as well. And I don't know if everyone's ever done that. We're going to have Larry Karras come down, arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. We have other great high school coaches we're celebrating. We're going to, obviously, Paul Brown, we're going to honor him and his family for what he did for the great state of Ohio. So when you start looking at it, and our friend Mr. Parks is working on doing a little history lesson for us, it's really overwhelming. And it's really my obligation and all of ours to celebrate Ohio football. So both coaches are here for the pros, and we're inviting not only high schools but local grade schools, and if you're coaching Ohio, come and celebrate the great state and the great tradition of Ohio football.
Back row, Lori.
Coach, you've talked repeatedly this spring about the young players who are stepping into roles.
Another thing just about the great state. I played high school, played college, and my son's getting ready to play high school football in the state. That's another reason I just kept thinking how proud I am that kid's going to play high school football in Ohio. I'm sorry.
You've talked about young players stepping into roles where you're counting on them. What does that mean for what you're expecting and needing from leadership this year, and what have you seen this spring in that respect?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you what we're doing. We're doing something called unit leadership, and that's I've taken the approach last year this time where players are going through leadership training. And this last 4 weeks, our coaches have been. So once or twice a week, we go on a leadership seminar. And once again, Tim Kite teaches it, and we're teaching people to be unit leaders. And in the month of May, we're going to go attack the team now. And that's what we put. So we got a real cool, systematic approach to how we're going to fix this thing. And it's not broke. It's just we got to we didn't finish the chase. So,
Front row, Austin, last questions.
Urban, when you mentioned those injuries at the top, does it seem like that number is high for spring? Or is it just maybe the nature that the starter at tight end, the starter at safety, just?
no, I'm just, because I've talked to a lot of my colleagues, and that's not a bad one. Right now, we're good, you know. I think Von Bell and I think Jalen's the one, because he was really making a move. And he got hurt, you know, he's making a move in a classroom, and just, you know, the typical freshman looks like he left his system. And then to see him grab his ankle over, what would he do? Jalen had a knee.
Yeah.
Oh, cartilage, that's right, he had
Yeah.
a scope knee. And the same with Von Bell, you know, that's, you know, Jeff's gonna be fine. I think it's probably right about the normal number of injuries.
And last week you mentioned that tight end was one of the positions that was maybe deepest, most competitive, so that I guess
Not
you're
now.
better, not now. You weren't in position to absorb that loss even for a little bit.
No, Nick Vinette's done very well, one of our most improved players, and Marcus Ball actually has had some good days, today not being one of them. So bad day, was it today, Tuesday, bad day Tuesday?
Yeah.
Terrible, make sure there's no bad day Thursday. All right, guys, thank you.
Thanks,
This is good.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.